Today, for the very first time, I'm going to be listening to the brand new Muse album. This is Will of the People. Hello everybody and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on my channel. And I wasn't planning on doing this video today, but I just cannot wait anymore to listen to this Muse album for two reasons. One of those reasons is I am super excited to hear it, and also it just came out yesterday, so it's brand new. I don't have the CD copy because I haven't yet ordered it. My plan was to order it, but anyway, doesn't matter. I don't have it, so I'm going to be listening on Spotify. But the other reason that I want to listen to this today and to do this video today is because my throat is starting to hurt a little bit, and my dad has had a cold for the last few days, and so I think I might be catching the cold that he has. And so his throat, he's been coughing a lot, and I wanted to listen to this album before I get a cough and stuff, before my throat gets too bad. So hopefully I can keep everything together. I've got a cough drop over here if I need it, but I just can't wait anymore. That's the main reason. So really excited about that. If you've never seen a video on my channel like this before, know that what I'm going to do is listen all the way through for the very first time while giving you all of my thoughts as I'm listening in real time. Usually in my videos, at least the last half year or so, I try to include the actual audio from the album in the video. So hopefully when you listen along with me, you'll be hearing the album in the video. However, Muse is a humongous band, and I do not know their policies on copyright issues and things like that, allowing people to use their videos, their music in videos and stuff like this on YouTube. My channel is not a partnered channel, so I do not ever monetize any of my videos. No video I've ever had on my channel has been monetized. And so I don't really ever worry about that, as I know a lot of reaction channels worry about having videos demonetized. For me, it's just very disappointing when I go through the process of editing a video. I get everything ready, I upload it, and the video is just totally blocked in every country. I've had that happen several times with several really important albums that I was really excited to do, like earlier this year when I did my Archive reaction video, which, if you're a fan of Muse, I highly recommend listening to Archive's most recent album. So go check that out, and if you want to listen to it with me on my channel, I have a video. However, sadly, because of copyright issues, you cannot actually hear the music in my video. So that was a huge bummer, and I hope that that doesn't happen with this video, but if it does, just know I tried as hard as I could, and I will include a link in the description of the video if I have to. I'll probably include it anyway to purchase the album and whatnot, but I'll include a link to listen along with me on Spotify if I have to do that. And I would just ask, if I can include the audio in this, if you're already familiar enough with the album, you've listened to it 20 times, you love it, that's awesome. You don't really need to listen to it along with me. But if you're not as familiar with the album and you want to listen to it along with me, I think that would probably be incredibly helpful for enjoying the video. But with that being said, also in the description of the video, I will include timestamps to all the different sections of the video, because I'm going to do something a little bit different here at the beginning of my video. It might take a little bit of time. Then I'm going to talk about Muse a little bit, my opinions of some of their other albums, just to give a little context. And then I'm going to listen to the album. And then after I'm done listening to the album, I will do my sort of overall review, give my overall thoughts. So if you want to skip to any of the different parts of this video, including every one of the individual songs, if you have a song that's your favorite and you'd like to hear my reaction to it, feel free to skip to that. Or if you just want to skip to the end of the video and hear my thoughts on the album overall, please feel free to do that. No worries whatsoever. So one thing that I want to mention right away is that the last video that I filmed, and I'm not sure if it'll be the most recent video that I posted, but the last reaction video that I filmed was a very different one for my channel. It was a reaction to a band called The Impliers, and they are a very small, relatively unknown band. And if you want to hear the story about how I found them and all that stuff, please feel free to go watch the video. I will include a link to that in the description of this video, and you can also just click on my channel and go look for it. It'll be one of the most recent things that I posted. But I just want to say that that album was so fantastic, and it was so unexpectedly fantastic, that I highly encourage anyone who likes Muse to go listen to that and give it a shot. They are a very small band. I think as of the time I recorded the video for it, they only averaged about 1,300 views per month, or listens per month on Spotify. However, the day that I recorded it was actually the day that their debut album, Cocoon, came out. I had ordered a physical copy CD from them, and they shipped it to me a little early, and I managed to get it that day and do the video. And I'm so happy with how that video came out. and so happy. At this point of recording this video, I haven't yet uploaded that one, so fingers crossed that I'm able to include the music from that album in that video. But regardless, please go check out that band, because I think that they're a really cool, special band. It's an awesome debut album. I'm pretty sure that they have a pretty low budget compared to something obviously like Muse, who probably had all the money in the world and all the technology at their disposal, and that they're willing and able to use it all themselves and have all these crazy producers and people helping them and things. And this band is just two guys from Denver, so highly recommend that. Go look them up. Again, they're called The Impliers. Really interesting music. The album is sort of a concept album, and it changes a lot from the front of the album to the end of the album, so you want to definitely listen to the album all the way through, or watch my video all the way through if you want to hear my thoughts along while you're listening to it. Another thing that I want to do right away at the beginning here before I get into actual Muse, and I do this sometimes on my channel just because I'm excited to share with people things that I find, but the last 2 days, my mother and I have gone on sort of, in our area where I live in Nebraska, they have things that they refer to as like junk jaunts, or sort of like garage sale areas, where they have like a highway or a specific route planned on a map through Nebraska, and every little town along that route has garage sales that day. So it's basically like community garage sales or small town garage sales, like area neighborhood garage sales, all on the same day in many different little neighborhoods. And it's something that my mother and I have always enjoyed doing. I love garage selling, getting things secondhand, finding cool little treasures and things. And the last 2 days we've been doing that in the small town where I'm from, and then the sort of surrounding communities. It's a very awesome event called Bargains for You on Highway 92. And I found some really cool stuff, and so I just wanted to go through and show you some of that stuff right here. This has nothing to do with music, really, other than the few like records and cassettes and things that I'll show, so I totally understand if you want to skip it, but I do have some interesting things that maybe you'll care about. I don't know. So the first thing I want to show you is probably the coolest thing that I got, and actually I'm so heartbroken because I just broke them on getting ready for this video. I was going to try to do the intro here with these on, but this just came off of here. But this is, I'm sure you'll be able to tell, this is a very old, hold on, this is a very old pair of goggles. I think they're would more be considered goggles. Well, it's red velvet inside there. Sorry, my lights are set up. There you can tell it's sort of like a reddish orange velvet in there. Sorry, I'm trying to get light on everything so you can see it. Maybe better on this side. There you can see it a little bit. It's like leather stitching. And the cool thing about these is they have these little, I don't know if you can tell, it's too dark. Oh, there you go. They have these little like horn things. They're not hollow, but what you do is you flip these up, and then these become a different style of sunglasses, maybe I'm thinking. One of the lenses is missing, but this lens is still here. And it's actually pretty awesome. If I look through it and close my eye, everything looks orange. It's very cool. But then something else that's even more awesome is this little lever here that flips these guys up. And now I know you can't see my eyes because I'm too dark here, and I apologize for not having, stuff set up, but I just think that this is really awesome. Flip these down, and I guess if it was a dust storm or something outside, I don't know if these are from World War I, World War II. They look significantly old. They could be from World War II, maybe some sort of glasses that would go with like a gas mask or something. I really don't know. It's not uncommon to find a lot of World War II things in the area where I grew up in, because both my grandparents, every old person that I know basically was involved in World War II and came back with different things. So I don't know if that's what this is. To me, this looks like it might be a little bit older than that. I do live in an area that is considered part of what was the Old West. So I don't know if this, these definitely look like something you would see in like Red Dead Redemption. But yeah, just something that's really cool. That's the coolest thing that I found, and I wanted to share that with you guys. Total other end of the spectrum, I found this, and I thought this was really cool. We're gearing up for Halloween season. I found this, what is this art style called? Embroidery, maybe, I think. But it's just this little embroidery thing that I found at this garage sale. This woman was very nice. We talked to her for a long time, and I bought a few things at her sale that I'll show you in a second. But she said that her daughter did these, and there was a set of them. And this was the only one that was a little bit sort of like on the Halloween side. I love the spider web. I love the sort of creepy tree. And it says Web BNB vacancy here. Just something really cool. I do not really overly enjoy or love embroidery or anything like that. It's just something I found. My eye was drawn to it. I thought it was cool. So I bought it, and I got to support sort of a local artist. I don't even know how old the girl was. Another thing I got here, I'm a huge, huge fan and supporter of DARE. I think it's very important to teach children not to do drugs and to abuse alcohol, or in my case, as far as I'm concerned, to drink alcohol at all. However, I don't know. I think that DARE is really cool, and I have a lot of DARE things up in my room on the wall, and I keep my DARE card with me in my wallet wherever I go. And so this is a DARE Frisbee, really cool. Then I found, now we're getting to some cool stuff, a double Godzilla VHS tape set. This is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, which I already have on VHS, and Godzilla vs. Gigan, which I do not actually have on VHS, so that's really exciting. I'll probably never watch them, because I believe I have both of these movies on Blu-ray somewhere on my shelf over there, but still really cool, really excited about this. I want to, over time, I think, collect all of the Godzilla movies on VHS, and as of right now, I think I have 7 of them or so. So any of the ones that were actually released in the United States on VHS, I think would be cool to find. Then I found some cassette tapes here. And this top one is the one that I'm most excited about. So this is the Sugar Cubes album, Stick Around for Joy. I was unfamiliar with who the Sugar Cubes were until literally just like 4 days ago. This was a crazy coincidence, but I watched one of my favorite YouTube channels is, I'm not sure what it's called exactly, but the guy refers to it as New British Canon. He does documentary style, like half-hour YouTube videos, basically like a documentary talking about a different style or aspect of British music, usually from the 80s, but it also goes back further and more modern as well. But I was watching one of his on Bjork, and I thought it was totally fascinating, and I had no clue that Bjork was in a band before she released her solo stuff in the early 90s, and apparently she was the singer for the Sugar Cubes. And so I'm super excited that I found this, and this is unopened. This is factory sealed, baby. So I haven't looked it up on eBay or anything to see how much it's worth, and for the record, I didn't buy any of this stuff to resell it. I love owning cool things since I don't have much in my life, or I don't really care about people that much. Things are my thing, if you will. And so it was really cool It was really cool, and I was excited to find this. So that's a neat thing. And then I found all of these, which are all Mannheim Steamroller cassette tapes. And the reason that I think these are all awesome is because for 7 years, I worked at a recording studio in Omaha, Nebraska, where I didn't work at the exact studio where the Mannheim Steamroller stuff was all recorded, but I did work with one of the guys who worked on all of it, and I visited and met and got to know a little bit a lot of the people who performed on the albums, and recorded everything, and it was a really cool big part of a lot of the people's lives that I were involved in for those 7 years that I worked at that recording studio in Omaha, Nebraska. And so whenever I find interesting Mannheim Steamroller stuff or anything that was recorded at sound recorders in either Kansas City or Omaha, I try to pick it up because my boss's name might actually be on there, which actually is on. Let's see if it says on here. No, it'll be inside. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but Cleet Baker, the man that I worked for many years, his name is in a lot of these, and he was involved with a lot of this. And so I think that's really cool, and I try to pick stuff up when I find it if it has his name on it. Totally unrelated to that, but really cool, I think. I found a Lemony Snicket book that I had no clue was a thing. I'm a huge fan of Series of Unfortunate Events. I love the dark humor, the dark tone, the adult nature, even though it is for kids. Though I highly recommend, if you were a fan when you were a kid, reading it again now as an adult, if you are an adult. But I really, I don't know what this is about or what it is really. It seems like it might be for a little bit younger kids, but I'm not sure. But something that I didn't even know existed. Really cool. Bought it for like 10 cents, so who cares? Another book that's really cool also for kids. I just think this is really neat. I haven't got the time to look at this very much yet, but it's called The Circus in the Mist by Bruno Munari. And I just want to show you a second here how amazing this book is. I just looked at this a second. So there's transparent pages that layer on top of each other to tell the story in an artistic way. And then we get further into it, and there's colors. There's holes in the page here. So just really, really cool. If you have children, this definitely seems like something that might be interesting to you. Again, The Circus in the Mist by Bruno Munari. Then we have, let's see here, we have probably maybe the 4 coolest things that I found. And if you're watching this video, you're excited for Muse. First of all, thank you for watching this little section with me. But also know that you're going to probably appreciate this. Being a Muse fan means you probably appreciate the finer things about music. And if you don't, that's totally fine. If you just like Muse surface level, or if you're crazy awesome musician like Matthew Bellamy and you're like super into like music theory and stuff, that's whatever. That's run the gamut of music fans, obviously. But this is something I had never seen before, and I'm really excited that I found them. And I did look these up on eBay just because I was curious, and it does seem like some of them might be worth quite a bit. These are albums on reel-to-reel tape. So this is Bobby Gentry, Ode to Billy Joel. Of course, Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, one of their more famous albums. Then we have I Live in Czech Country in Nebraska, the good old Bohemian Alps. Lots of polka stuff everywhere around here. One of the most famous polkas of all time, No Beer in Heaven, by Eddie and the Slovens. Eddie and his Slovens. This is really cool to find, and it seems like it's a giant tape, but I'm sure it's not recorded all the way through, though it does look like this has been played all the way through. I don't know if it's on both sides. It just says the different tracks that are on here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the first side, maybe, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the second side. Now, I don't know if this is like a record. I have worked with tape a little bit at the studio that I used to work with. As I said, my boss Cleet used to do Mannheim Steamroller stuff. He did a lot of pressings to vinyl. He was the guy who mastered and pressed the vinyl. He did all sorts of different things, and they used to work on tape. And so I've worked with some tape stuff, and it's really interesting how it works. But the cool thing about tape is you can fit like 4 hours on a side of tape if you record it very slowly. I believe, kind of like a vinyl, with a vinyl, I'm not sure exactly, but I think the faster you record it, like the more tape you use per song, the more accurately represented the song is on that medium. And I think that might be true for vinyl, which is why a lot of records that might all fit on a CD, for example, need 2 vinyl, because they want to record at a higher speed. They actually press the vinyl at a higher speed, because obviously it's played back at 33 1/3. I'm not an expert on this stuff, so I don't want to talk out my butt not knowing what I'm talking about, but I do know that it is a finicky thing. And tape is really interesting because you can fit a lot of stuff on there. Obviously, with like a cassette tape, I remember making mixtapes and stuff when I was younger. You can fit an hour or more on a cassette tape, then flip it over and you have a whole nother side again. So the last one of these that I found, definitely the coolest one. This is Johnny Cash, but wait, it's a double album. One side is on one side of the tape, or one album is one side of the tape, and if you listen all the way through, flip it over, the other side is Ring of Fire. So I have I Walk the Line and Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash, which is really cool because the garage sale after I went to and bought this one, I happened to find this. Would you look at that? It's the same exact album, but this is the vinyl version. And I don't think that this vinyl is worth very much or anything like that. You know, Johnny Cash vinyl is usually not worth very much. But this thing, I found one of these on eBay, and they were asking $270 for it. Now, I bought this for $25. I bought each of these for $25. So I'm not saying that I would ever, if I were to try to sell this, that I think I would get that or anything. I think there were a couple maybe left on there. One was for like $150. One was in really bad shape, maybe for $50. I can't remember. I looked up all of those, and they were different varying states on eBay. And I didn't look up sold ones at all. But this is a very niche thing, but very cool, obviously, for a music collector and someone who would love Johnny Cash would be really interested in this. and I'm so happy I came across it and found it, and it was just for 25 cents, like I said. So records on reel-to-reel tape. Who would have thought? Didn't even know that that was a thing. Now I have a couple other vinyl here to show that I was excited about. Marty Robbins, more gunfighter ballad. Is it gunfighter or gunslinger? More gunfighter ballads and trail songs by Marty Robbins. His original Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs album, which is red and him holding like a gun like this, looking off to the side. Fantastic. The best selection of old Western songs put on one album. Fantastic quality, fantastic performing. Sounds incredible. That's El Paso, which I'm sure you know. I don't know the town of El Paso. I was in love with a Mexican girl. Right? And then also Water, 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 Cool Water. That's also. He has several other songs that are just incredible. They're all on that album. And so I didn't even know this was a thing, that he released a second album of cowboy songs and Old West songs. So heck yes, I'm very excited about this. 100%. Then we have, I talked about this in one of my recent videos. If you don't like Winnie the Pooh, you should shut up and rethink your life, because Winnie the Pooh is fantastic and everyone should just relax, chill, and enjoy some Winnie the Pooh. So I managed to find this. This is the record I spent the most amount of money on. I spent $2 on this one and I didn't feel bad about it at all. This is Walt Disney Presents Some Winnie the Pooh, and you can tell on here the original design for Tigger and Winnie. And we have the songs on here are A Rather Blustery Day, The Wonderful Thing About Tigger Song Reprise, The Rain, Rain, Rain Came Down, 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 Hip Hip Pooh-Ray, Pooh as in P-O-O-H, Hip Hip Pooh-Ray, Where Oh Where, Who's at Rabbit's Tail, Where is the Honey Tree, Birthday, Birthday, and of course, Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, which is just obviously classic. Although, in my opinion, controversial opinion here, I do not think that the original Winnie the Pooh song is as good as the theme song for the cartoon that was on in the 90s, I believe, when I grew up. That was the, gotta get up, gotta get going, I'm gonna see a friend of mine, right? He's round and he's fuzzy, we love him because he's just Pooh Bear, I gotta be there. Great stuff. Okay, done with Winnie the Pooh. Then I have 3 C.W. McCall albums, and I just think these are cool because a lot of people don't know. C.W. McCall, all these albums were recorded in Omaha and in Kansas City at Sound Recorders, the studio I mentioned earlier where all the Mannheim Steamroller stuff is done. C.W. McCall's career was created and recorded and existed all along in that studio. So my boss worked on a couple of these albums, and a lot of people that I know worked on some of these, and I just think it's really cool. I already did have a copy of this middle one here, but I didn't have a copy of this one, and I had never seen a copy of this one before. So that was really cool to find these. Really excited about that. And the last thing, I know I'm going on and on, the last thing I want to say is that I love, and have a huge collection of sheet music. If you were to ask me what my favorite sort of art style or like genre of art is, I would say without hesitating, old sheet music artwork, cover illustrations. I cannot get enough of them. I think they're incredible, and I've been debating about taking some of my records off the wall and putting up. I have probably over 1,000 for sure, old sheet music like this. And I just wanted to show 2 examples. This is The Girl That I Marry from Annie Get Your Gun, and this is from the movie, I believe. Irvin Berlin, it says on there, different things on there. But look at that cool artwork. It's incredible. I absolutely love this. On the back, we have a little bit extra. And if you've never seen sheet music like this before, you literally just open it, and the score, the sheet music is in there. There's usually some advertising on the first page of a different song. This is excerpts from musical production, Annie Get Your Gun. But then The Girl That I Marry is over here. It's 3 pages. Very, very cool. Oh, what year is this from? Copyright 1946. So this is 46. And then the other one that I brought to just show as another example. This is Melody Time, Walt Disney's Melody Time. And you can see on here some of the different characters from some of the different cartoons. We have, this is I think, is that Timmy the Tugboat? Maybe Thomas the Tugboat? Not sure. This is the famous horse and his and then that guy, and then the bunnies, of course, from the thing. But then, of course, we have over here the three amigos, Daffy Duck, this guy, and that thing, those different birds. I don't know their names. But anyway, this is really cool. This is the song Blue Shadows on the Trail. And just in case you're curious, it's the same thing. You open it up. It's the sheet music on the back. Just a little bit of a advertisement. So I just thought that was kind of cool, and I wanted to show that to people. If you're unfamiliar, I bought a box that was maybe this tall, literally filled with it. I mean, there was probably over 100 in there for sure. I bought it for $5, and I looked through a little bit of it, and there was some really good ones in there. There was a lot of accordion music in there, which is really interesting. I believe it's the first accordion sheet music that I own, which in the area that I live, as I said, polkas are a huge thing. There's lots of accordions around, lots of people that can play the accordion. I have several accordions, though I really can't play them. Not very good at that. Okay, so now it is time to talk about Muse. Thank you very much for indulging me on that. If you just skipped right here, that's totally cool, no worries, but you did miss some cool stuff. So, Muse. Normally, when I do a reaction for a video, it's for a band that I absolutely love or a new band that I'm discovering. And it's not for a band like this in this case because I don't actually own all of Muse's albums. I don't know everything that there is to know about them. I like the albums of theirs that I have. I wouldn't say that I really dislike any of them, with the exception of possibly one. I'll get to that in a second. But I think that they're a really cool and very unique band, and they're actually unique in a way that allows them to be unique while still being accessible to like pop, people who like pop music and things. So they're kind of like sneaky unique. They're like sneaky, incredible musicians. If you watch them and you see them and you listen to the song and you know music theory a little bit, these guys are incredible. They're technical masters. But also you can listen to like Undisclosed Desires, and you can listen to some of their different songs, and it's like, Madness. And it's like, oh, these are just really cool electronic pop songs. But there's still a layer underneath there of like a musical understanding that like really digs deep into the core of music theory. And so I appreciate them for all of that. And I am not a deep music theory person, so like I'm not an incredible musician. I don't know how to like break music down and be like, wow, this section of this song was in that key, and how could they possibly have made it work with this key, the unrelative minor or whatever. So I'm not really a fan of them for those reasons. However, I totally respect them for that. And there are moments like on Butterflies and Hurricanes where I listen to it and I'm just like, this is mind-boggling. Like, no band uses classical piano in their songs. There's just none of them. No one does it. And so that's why, that's one of the reasons that I do love and respect Muse the most. I do think that some of their music tends to trod a little bit. I was talking to a friend once about them, and I just felt like I made a comment that was something like, it just seems like he's trying as hard as possible to sing as slowly as possible, which is definitely a more classical approach to doing vocals. You can listen to a choral piece of music, like an Eric Whitacre piece of music or something, and the lyrics, there's like 2 paragraphs or maybe 2 sentences, and you're like, oh, this will be really interesting. And the sentence is, whatever, see Jane run, see Jane milk the cow. And you're like, okay. And then they take those 2 sentences and it's a 15-minute song. And it's like, okay. That's not a huge fan of choral music. And I feel like some of the way Matthew Bellamy approaches vocals are like, let's spend several measures on this one word. Let's be crazy. Let's expand and stretch these vocal phrases. Really, let's be slow, which can be really cool because that's juxtaposed over the really fast stuff like Hysteria, or what was that? Their other Hysteria, and then what was the other one? Oh, Stockholm Syndrome, I think. Just the really fast music, the and then just having this over the top of it. Really cool juxtaposition. But I believe, like, when I first heard Absolution, I couldn't make it all the way through. I was like, oh, this is just taking so long. And it just feels like everything, like he's running in slow motion, whereas the rest of the band is in fast motion. And that was a long time ago I heard this album, probably close to when it came out, which was 2003, which I would have been in high school. I would have been a junior in high school at the time, or even a sophomore. But now at a much more mature age and having understanding music a lot more and having matured in my taste of music and thing like that, I can definitely appreciate it more. However, I still don't know to this day if I've listened to this album all the way through. It just feels like so much of a slog at certain times, even though I love, 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 love certain moments of it a lot. I love Time Is Running Out, which is the first Muse song I ever heard. I love Sing for Absolution. I love Stockholm Syndrome. I love Hysteria. I love Butterflies and Hurricanes. I believe it is my favorite Muse song. And then I absolutely love Endlessly. I think that song is so beautiful, gorgeous, awesome. Love the electric piano in it with like a Rhodes piano. Love that stuff. Fantastic. And so I enjoy this album overall. I would definitely say it's one of my favorites in their catalog, if not probably my favorite in their catalog. And then after this came out and I found out who Muse was, because I should mention I have not actually ever heard, I don't think I know a single song off of their first two albums, which is Origin of Symmetry, I think, and then something else. I don't know what it is. I've never bought those albums. I've never heard them. It's something at this point I'm kind of almost like saving for like a rainy day in the future. Like, let's sit down and listen to some older Muse, because I probably like it a lot more, maybe than even some of the other albums. But haven't heard those, so I can't comment. Although I will say in a second that I have their live Blu-ray and the live DVD, and I have watched these concerts in their entirety, I believe. So I definitely have heard songs off of the first two albums, though I didn't know that that's what they were from. I don't know which album of the two they were from. And, it's always different when you're watching a live concert because it's just way different. But I do own these two, Harp and Live from Olympic Rome Stadium. But then we get to the album that just is one of the most confusing albums that I own, because everybody that I know seems to just absolutely love Black Holes and Revelations. And, there's a couple extra things in here. That's interesting. Anyway, everybody that I know loves Black Holes and Revelations. And I have tried more than 6-7 times to sit down and listen to this album and to try to understand why people love it. And I just cannot. I don't think the production is good. I don't think the songwriting is interesting enough to keep my attention span. I love the song on here, Black Hole, Supermassive Black Hole. I love that song, and it is fantastic in the movie Twilight, which, don't hate me, but I actually really enjoy Twilight. And if you've read the books and at all, you know that Stephenie Meyer mentions Muse at the end of every one of her books in the acknowledgments. She thanks Muse for being one of her inspirations. And first of all, I think that's so awesome that she would recommend, like she would thank the artists and music that inspired her to help her write. I think that's awesome. And then I love the fact that Twilight was so massive at the time, and Muse was so cool that they were like, let's collaborate, and they did a couple things together, and I think that that's awesome. So I really like that song, but that's really the only song off of this album that I enjoy. I've never been able to listen to this album all the way through, and honestly, as I sit here and look at it, I can't think of a single one of these other songs that I remember what it is at all. So definitely not, for whatever reason, not for me. But I do have some friends whose music opinions I really trust very strongly, and this is their favorite Muse album. And it really is just, it's shocking to me. Very rarely is that the case. Usually I agree with people on what the best album... Well, maybe that's not necessarily true. Anyway, I digress. Going on a little long. So then we have The Resistance. I really enjoyed this album, and this is probably the Muse album that I've listened to the most. I really think Undisclosed Desires is amazing. Resistance is just absolutely incredible. Muse can write these songs that are so different from anything else that's on the radio, yet you hear it on the radio and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, it's almost like, it's really cool. It's hard for me to explain, but I really appreciate the fact that they're able to put these things out into the mainstream and have people like them. It's almost like they're being sneaky, like I said earlier. I really appreciate that about them. And so this album, I think I was a little disappointed. Like the Exogenesis Symphony Part 1, 2, and 3, I was expecting to be a lot more epic than it was. It's okay, and I do enjoy it, but it wasn't really what I wanted. And at this point, honestly, I kind of just wanted more of the like poppy Muse, the pop Muse. And I don't know, this album is interesting, but probably my second favorite of in their catalog that I've heard so far. Then we have the Second Law, which is of course Madness, mad, 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 and a few other songs that I really enjoy. I remember at the time when this came out, I was reading interviews with them and stuff, and they were talking about trying to do the opposite of what you would expect a song to be. So like I think one of the songs on here is like sort of like a dubstep sounding song. And so then what they try to do with the other one, I think it might have been these last two, the Second Law. One of them is sort of like an all rock band version of a dubstep song, and then there's an all electronic version of a rock song. And so they were trying to like do these different things and set these goals for themselves and try to push themselves into uncomfortable, unfamiliar territory to grow as artists. And I think the production on this is fantastic, but I don't think that it's super awesome all the way through or anything like that. And I don't know, I guess I would say it's my third favorite, but I mean, we've only talked about 4 albums, one of which I didn't like, so. And then the last album of theirs that I have is Drones. And Drones, I was excited because it was sort of a return to the rock music, but I'll mention this later on in this video because I looked at the song titles for this album. I really don't enjoy it that much when a band swears a lot in a song. I do think if you're going to do it to the max, do it. You don't have to write a Hollywood Undead song, but go ahead and do it. And if you're going to be a bear, you might as well be a grizzly. That's as my boss always used to say. But I really don't like it when a band has just like 1 or 2 songs where there's just like a bunch of swear words on it and then not really throughout the rest of the album. I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I've talked about it before in other videos, and I'm sure you watching this probably don't care, but the fact that their big song Psycho in the chorus itself had the F word in it, I was just like, I feel like I've lost a tiny little bit of respect for it. It just feels silly. And then also throughout their career, there's a lot of like political overtones and things in their music, and that is not something that I ever listen to music for. It's not one of the reasons I gravitate towards anything. It's not something that I listen to music for. And I should say as well, I am not really a lyrical guy. I like to listen to the music, to the production, to the way things were recorded, the engineering side of things. And so that's what I'll probably be focusing on with this album. But I'm expecting this album to have incredible production value, like all of their albums have. And then, of course, we have the second most recent album, which I don't have a copy of, but I have heard, I believe. I listened to it on Spotify when it came out. Simulation Theory, I believe it was called. And I remember being excited for that because I thought they were showing hints of sort of like more synthwavey type of stuff, a little bit more sort of like electronic stuff, and I was excited about some of like the synth-based things and the different synth sounds. And then I remember listening to it, and I remember really liking 3 or 4 songs maybe, and then the rest of the album was just kind of like, meh, which actually is kind of a pretty good way to explain how I think about Muse's catalog. There's like 4 or 5 songs maybe that I absolutely love, adore, think they are incredible. And then the rest of the album is just sort of kind of meh. And I don't know if it's because those songs just over my head and I'm not like intelligent enough to understand them, or I'm not patient enough to allow those songs to grow on me, but that's kind of my liking of Muse in a nutshell, I guess, really. So switching the conversation really quick to the new album, I've heard the very first single that they released, which I don't know what it's called, but the very first single they released for this album, I started listening to it, and my mind was blown. I thought the production was fantastic. I thought it sounded super heavy, like maybe the heaviest thing I had heard Muse do. And I was so excited, I was like, I gotta stop this. I'm not gonna listen to a single thing. I'm gonna wait until the album comes out, and I'm gonna do a reaction, because at that point I had had my channel. And so here we are. I'm so excited to listen to it. Just a couple days, this album just came out, as far as I know, yesterday, and I believe the day before they released a new song called something about Halloween, and I was like, what is this? And I clicked on it on the Facebook ad for just a second to see, because I was like, what is this, some sort of like an ad for the album or something? And it was a song about Halloween, and my brain just exploded with excitement because I love Halloween. I love the fall. I love dark stuff. I love horror movies. I love all these sort of like cool, dark, sinister, gothic-y things, and no bands make Halloween music. Every band in the world does their own Christmas cover songs, their own Christmas songs, but no one rarely ever does Halloween music, except for those awesome genre of surf rock Halloween music, which is amazing and does exist. And then also, of course, shout out to Rob Zombie, Scum of the Earth, stuff like that. Power Man 5000 to a little bit of a lesser extent. There are certain bands that have them, and I love those bands. I think that stuff is great. And so the fact that Muse, a huge, huge band, the fact that they are going to release a Halloween song, at least I assume it's a Halloween song. It sounded Halloween-y in the little like 10-second clip that I heard, and the song's called something, something, something Halloween. Total props, awesome, so excited, can't wait to get to that song on the album. So, without further ado, one last thing. I always do this in all my videos. Look right here on my table. I don't know if you can see. I think you can see. Where's my finger disappear? Right here. Look here on the table, and I'll be right back with you in a second. So, of course, I had to get some pop for this episode, and as I've been talking, of course, for the last 45 minutes or however long, I may decide to add some of that stuff out, but if I don't, whatever. My throat, I am parched. My throat is dry, and I am parched. And so I got a Dr. Pepper berry with a velociraptor on it. I recommend you get yourself a drink or a snack, as Natalie Gold would say on her reaction channel. Shout out to Natalie Gold, who's awesome. I do not know her personally, but I've enjoyed many hours watching things with her. Okay, Dr. Pepper. I'll say while this is sort of settling down. Move some of my stuff out of the way here. I was able to fit this guy right in the Leshen's finger here, so hopefully, maybe it'll fall down, I don't know, but we're going to be celebrating Halloween, so what the heck. We got a little Halloween thing up here. Oh, cool the throat, cool the throat. Love that little hint of berry that's on there. If you guys haven't tried this, if you're a fan of Dr. Pepper and you haven't tried the Dr. Pepper berry, I recommend. I definitely do. All right, so I've got the album opened here. And I have to say while I'm getting this ready a little bit, just in case I forget to mention it, and I do, I'm usually pretty good about this, but, oh no. I have this extra cable here that I have to use that's attached to my headphone cable. And unfortunately, what it does, unintentionally, this is not what it was supposed to do, it's just an extension. But unfortunately, it actually reverses the stereo image. So if I say something, if I say that I'm hearing something on the left or the right, and you are like, what the heck is he talking about? That's on the other side. It's because at that moment, I'm not thinking, oh, my stereo image is reversed from what you guys are hearing. So just be aware of that. But without further ado, I don't know how loud this is going to be. I should have checked that off. I may have to adjust the volume, so bear with me here. Let's just start. We have Will of the People. Oh, I will say I looked this up. I looked this up on Wikipedia before recording this. And I saw a couple interesting things to note. First was that I guess the record label or someone asked them to put out like a greatest hits album, and they were like, no, we'll just make a new album that's sort of like all of our greatest hits in terms of like each song is going to be based off of another song that we've sort of had popularity with before, kind of. So they were trying to make a greatest hits album of all new songs, which, first of all, love the fact that they would even say that. That's amazing. Second of all, yes, please. Like I just said, I really love the 4 or 5 songs off each of their albums. I'm pretty sure those songs that I enjoy are probably their singles. So a whole album of just Muse trying to like make cool, catchy singles, I'm all there for it. And then I just on the other thing that they mentioned was that, or at least that I saw, was that there are a lot of different people that worked on this album. I believe they've done a lot of their more recent albums themselves, and they did produce this themselves, but they had a lot of people in the studio with them doing different things. And I don't have the liner notes with me. I usually like to look through those and maybe look at some of the lyrics as I'm listening, but I don't have the liner notes with me. So I'm just going to be not looking at anything. I'm just going to be listening. But there were quite a few different people listed in the personnel that worked on the album. So kudos to that, and kudos to all those people who I'm sure did a fantastic job making this album sound incredible. I just know that it's going to sound incredible. As I'm looking at the list of the songs here, I do not even know which song was the big single that I did hear before. It may have been Compliance, but I'm not sure. Might have been Won't Stand Down, I don't know. Oh, they have a song called Ghosts, too. They have a song called Ghosts and a song called You Make Me Feel Like It's Halloween, which, awesome. Shout out to Neil Diamond with the greatest Christmas song of all time, You Make It Feel Like Christmas, my favorite Neil Diamond song of all time. And I also see here it says they have a song called Verona, which is the name of a really amazing song by one of my favorite bands of all time called Hertz, an English electronic sort of rock duo. If you're unfamiliar with them, but you like Muse, go check them out. I guarantee you'll like it, especially their first 2 albums, and especially their second album, which is called Exile. I think that album, I actually think all four of their first 4 albums are perfect. They're perfect 10 albums, all of them. But I like their first 2 the most, and I like their second one, Exile, the best. It's very Depeche Mode meets Muse. I've used that comparison before. Depeche Mode meets Muse meets Interpol, maybe something different like that. And it's just maybe a little AWOL Nation in there. I don't know. Really amazing. Look them up. But they have a song called Verona. And when I see Verona, all I can think of is Verona. Ooh, Verona. Who knew? Or whatever the words are. So, who knows when we're going to get to there. And I believe Verona is a place. Though I could be wrong. Not sure. Okay. I've stalled long enough. Will of the People. Muse 2022. August. Right now it's done. The Beautiful People reference? Oh, I did not expect Marilyn Manson callback. What the heck? I love it! Dude, I wonder if every song is like based off of another song. That would be crazy. Distorted vocals so far throughout. Lots of claps. Stompy feeling, just like Beautiful People. Some overdub vocals here. It sounds like most of the vocals we have that we're hearing are distorted. There might be a clear vocal in the middle that has less distortion on it. Love that dry, weird, sort of like almost buzzy sounding electric guitar there in the middle here. The guitar sounds like it was recorded. Wow. This is like Rob Zombie-esque too. Which obviously Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, sort of the same sort of idea a little bit. Very different musically, I feel, but the guitar sounds like, I'm trying to decide if it was recorded twice and panned, but it almost sounds more like it was recorded, it was performed once, and then there were multiple microphones on the guitar cabinet or the speaker cabinet or the guitar amp, whatever was mic'd. But I did not expect this at all. I'm shocked. But the guitar sounds like it's one performance with multiple mics on it, and then what you do when you have that is you have little bit of different, the sound gets to the, no, that's getting a little too deep into it. But you can pan, if you have one sound source and you have a microphone really close, like right on the speaker of the amp, and then you have one a little bit further away, maybe a room mic even further away, you can take those microphones, EQ them, compress them, do whatever you want to them separately, and then pan them, and it makes the guitar sound huge and massive even though it's just one single performance. I'm listening to this so loud and I love it. This is blowing my mind. And that's it. Wow, holy cow. Whew. What a way to start an album. Okay, Compliance. Now, I will say, I mentioned this at the beginning. We just need your compliance. Yep, I think this is the song I heard. Kind of Europe, Final Countdown vibes. Really cool, sharp, stabby synths. Definitely a delay, little reverb on that. Probably low pass, but low pass pretty high. So, but the frequencies of that synth are not stinging. And then the Compliance is a vocoder. Some vocoders sounds like they use that all the time. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that! Listen to that. I love the snare sound. The drums sound almost like trip-hoppy. And his voice is very dry right in the middle. Palm muted acoustic guitar. Definitely has that stereo delay that I mentioned earlier. With the multiple mics on the same source. Maybe I didn't hear this song. Because the song I heard I'm pretty sure had a lot of distorted guitars on it. So this song is 4 minutes, 10 seconds long. The whole album is 10 songs, 37 minutes. So it would be neat if it was a little bit longer. 37 minutes is pretty short, but 10 songs, it's fine. I see they have several songs that are just right around 3 minutes, and that's okay though. If they're gonna be intense like this, whatever. And if they're trying to make pop songs, but the last few songs, there's a 5 minute, 3.5 minutes. The song we're on now is 4 minutes 10. Love the palm muted guitar. Everything is really nice and close. It's compressed in the best way possible. Wow, those background vocals exist in such a nice space. Oh, I love that. Compliance. Wow. Okay, we got to the bridge here. Really cool synth thing going on here. Like a breakbeat part almost. Oh! Dude, love it, the vocoder thing, panning across. Dude, the groove of this, the bass, amazing. I bet this song was really fun for the bass player to perform. Oh yeah. Just need your compliance. Ho, 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 ho. You will feel no pain. Wow. Anymore. No more defiance. Love it. This is so Muse, but at the same time there's like a giddy up to this that I feel like they haven't really had that much before, with the exception of in some of their singles. We won't let you feel lost anymore. No more self-reliance. Oh my gosh, the drums sound fantastic. Now I will say the drums were probably recorded and then replaced, or maybe done even recorded on a electronic kit, but that's totally awesome. I don't think that that's cheating at all. I know some people don't like that kind of stuff. The toms sound fantastic. They're spread very wide. Wow. This actually reminds me a lot of Hertz, the band that I mentioned earlier. This actually reminded me of that a lot. Wow. Oh my gosh. The first two songs are bangers. Liberation. Gosh, and what I keep meaning to say every song so far. Piano. Okay. What I keep trying to say is that eventually I will get to some ads. I will just skip those, cut them out of the video if I can, smoothly. You may or may not even notice it, but I may point it out, whatever. Okay, just piano. You've left us choiceless, our backs against the now I'd be really okay. Okay, Queen. We have plans to take you down. We intend to erase our place. Very Queen. Very epic sounding, very powerful. Very closed fist, you know. Certain music puts a certain different styles of music put your body in like a different, like there's a different natural way to react. And this is definitely the closed fist, powerful feeling. This is great. Some acoustic guitar in there now. Wow. Cool. A totally wet, very far in the back where it's reverbed out snare. Probably sounds like a clap that's reverbed. and the kick is just an electronic kick. It's just low frequencies, no high frequencies. It's a nice little thud, like an 808 type thing. Oh, that distorted synth, I think it was there on the side. Very intricate background vocal part. It's actually not even background vocals in this. It's a second vocal part. Matt Bellamy has he's done things like that before. Love the acoustic guitar. I want to say that I haven't heard very much acoustic guitar in their music at all, ever. That seems to me like to be a very different thing. There's low frequency vibrations in there, very nice. All the vocals are very dry, and I love it. It's really making it stand out. And all the attacky things, the percussion that you're hearing, which in this song is much less attacky. Wow. Our power just flashed. Perhaps I should stop. I don't know. I'm running on... My computer is plugged in, but obviously it could have battery in it. I'm going to stop. Okay, so we had a power outage, and it is supposed to be like raining outside and stuff, and maybe a little bit of storming, but nothing too crazy. And I went upstairs to look, and actually there's nothing going on outside at all. I did see, however, that 16 Candles is on at the moment, and man, what a classic movie that is. But we're not here for that. We're here for this. I'm just going to start listening again, and hopefully there's no other power outages or blinking. I really hope that the file didn't become corrupted before this. Actually, I should check that out. Okay, so I did just go and check, and the file does seem like it was working all right. So we're just going to basically continue where Spotify remembers that I was listening, and it looks like it's only 30 seconds into Liberation, which I think actually for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to back it up and start again. Okay, I'm just restarting Liberation. Okay. Again, beautiful, just piano starting. And I was trying to listen if I think that it's a real piano or just a really good piano patch on a keyboard. When I was upstairs just now, in my head, I had Bohemian Rhapsody playing in my head. So that tells you what this was making me think of. And I'm not really a big Queen fan. I think that they're definitely a little bit overrated, but I also really respect what they did for their time. And I love this. Okay, here's that acoustic guitar. Ooh. I didn't notice that synth bass in the back. It's got sort of like a swoosh on it. Really like that. Love that. That might have actually been an electric guitar part off to the side there. I thought it was a synth the first time. There's that acoustic guitar again. Nice. those different layers of vocals, those vocal harmonies, doing those dynamic builds that he's able to do so well. Those yes, this is great. Really cool. That sound there almost sounds like an orchestra warming up or something a little bit. Very interesting. Okay, Won't Stand Down. Whoa. I never believed that I would concede and let someone trample on me. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that sound. That crushing. Wow, is that a vocoder of some kind? Whatever it is, it's incredible. Love this vocal rhythm too. This is almost like Linkin Park-y, maybe? There's the guitar. Yeah! Maybe this is the song I heard part of, but I think I would remember that. That synth part in there really interesting. Wow! Wow! Yeah, this is like AWOL Nation, right? Sail! Which is actually one of my least favorite AWOL Nation songs. Definitely my least favorite song on that album. Wow, that is just so... Oh. I love that pizzicato. I wonder if that was actually played. That's very cool. It probably was just played on a piano or on a keyboard. Yeah. Yeah. That's a weird trend. That's weird that the volume of the guitars go down so much there. It's like it's big and then it just gets sucked into being smaller, and I don't like that. Now, I am listening on the free version of Spotify that is a slightly lower quality. Wow. Wow. Oh, yeah, break it down. Ah! Yeah, and then it kind of, the energy gets sucked out of it. That's very strange. Whoa. The drums sound awesome. There's a lot of intentional over-compression going on here. Fantastic. Wow, okay, all right. Whew. Are we gonna... Ghosts, all right. Oh my gosh, this just is fantastic. I brought a water down with me. Lost in my head, there are unsolved feelings that haunt me. It's too late to heal, I'll lay them to rest. How can I move on when everyone beautiful fast playing. Sounds fantastic. Vocals nice and dry again. But there's still some effects on them, but overall the effect is dry. I wonder if they had a lot of fun making this. They probably did. It's just so rare for a band to come out and say, like, we were trying to make an album full of singles. It's like you'd think that that's sort of the goal, but that's not necessarily the goal with a lot of bands. Oh, yes. Bringing in some of the lower keys.
If I could bring you back, there are truths and confessions I tell you. I'd set things straight.
I like this. If it was just this the whole time, I would probably enjoy it.
I know it's too late. I need to let go. And how can I move on when everyone I see
building and intensity?
talks about you? How can I move on?
A little bit of distortion there.
Best things I have rebuilt together is to let
Love it.
go.
That right hand.
With your ghost and our memories, lest we forget the great reset.
Okay, yep. No. Oh, vocal overdub here. No, this is interesting because this is a ballad, but obviously the piano is going really fast and he's singing slow over it. So it's almost kind of like Hysteria or Stockholm Syndrome, which is just fast pretty much the whole time with slow vocals over it. But obviously the feeling here is so different. This is very classical sounding.
How can I move on when everyone I see still talks about you? How can I move on when all the best things I have remained together?
Amazing. This piano playing is incredible. You know, so few bands that have a keyboard player could play like this. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating and it is easier than I think it is, but I doubt it. Love it. Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Right to the point. Got there. Stayed there. Right there. Full feeling song. You Make Me Feel Like Halloween coming up next. Yep. And then that organ. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh, that synth. Oh, the synth bass. I wonder if this is supposed to be like Michael Jackson, but oh my goodness, I love it. What is this gonna do? Where is this going? Oh my goodness. Oh my, love it. This is everything put in there together that's... Wow. Little sample there. Dude, that super spread wide synth bass, incredible. Oh. Oh my god, it's simple and it's amazing and I love it. I mean, the organ part's a little complicated. I wonder if this was like Stranger Things inspired or just 80s music inspired. Listen to this! Oh my goodness. Yes! Oh god, this better be everywhere this year on Halloween. In a month, I better hear this everywhere. Oh, those synths. I mean, the drums sound fantastic. We get an ad. Oh my gosh. Okay. I need to brag. I don't know if there's a new Hotel Transylvania movie this year. If there is, obviously that's the sound of it. The theme song. I don't think there's any more Hotel Transylvania movies after the last one, but that may have just unseated the Monster Mash as the greatest Halloween song of all time. I cannot believe that I just heard that. That is the song of the year. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. And they structured it exactly the way I wanted it to. There was a shredding 80s guitar solo. There was... fantastic. That was a perfect song. That was a perfect song. I can't even. That was incredible. I love it. I love it. I love that they did a Halloween song and they were just like, yo, we're doing a Halloween song. Here it is. I mean, there was a little bit of Rockwell in there. Rockwell, Michael Jackson. I always feel like somebody's watching me. There was a little bit of that in there. There was Stranger Things in there. There was all sorts of cool things. Incredible. Absolutely, utterly incredible. This is kill or be killed. Oh, they scream there on the side fading. Wow, not where I thought it was gonna go. There's a weird synth in there, yeah, so it's kind of keeping from the feeling from the last song, but much heavier, more intense drums, and then the guitar is doing its thing. The interesting stereo image here. We have something going on far left, far right, with the drums and the vocals in the middle. Okay, there's a big, big guitar. Okay. Bass doesn't have a lot of boomy, low frequency to it. I hear the bass going, but it's not that crazy. Okay, now the guitar is right in the middle, doing the palm beating part. Drums on the toms. Toms are a lot more contained and they're less pan than they were earlier on the album. Wow. Crushing. Wow. I feel like there could be a little bit more bass on this, but that might just be the headphones I'm listening to, and then the 192, I think, kilobit MP3s that I'm listening to through the free version of Spotify. Wow, love the guitar tone. It's fantastic. Crushing, very dry, but it's played to perfection. Those toms going again. And again, that guitar right in the middle there for the pre-chorus. Then it spreads into that wide guitar we've had throughout the album when the guitar was heavier, crunchy. Wow. Awesome. What are we going to do for the bridge here? Whoa! Oh my goodness. Good Lord, oh my goodness. Crushing. Wow. But it's sort of like a whispery thing. Very awesome. Wow, just sweeping. I think that sounds like a guitar. Sounds like he's having fun. Sounds like they're having fun constantly. Whoa! Yeah! Get that double bass in there. Love it. Back to the lead riff of the song, or the intro riff at least. Okay, just the snare. Sounds fantastic. Probably replaced. Yep. And that weird synth bass thing off to the side. Whew! Oh, let it tail. Let it taper a bit. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're coming up to Verona. If we don't get another ad here, which sometimes I do. Verona. Now this is the longest... Oh no, this is the second longest song on the album. Okay, sound just off to the side so far, unless my headphones are wonky. There we go. Like it, very sort of ethereal sounding so far, but also very complex musically, like all of Muse's stuff is. All.
Can we kiss with poison on our lips? Well,
Love the like swooshing sort of sound that there is on some of these synth pads, or the pads, the constant sound that's happening.
they can't stop us now.
Wow, that was a great vocal line.
Let you be alone.
Wow, he's singing very purely there rather than belting like he usually does.
Keep us apart. It's too much to
Okay,
ask.
love it. Little synth wavy. With it sounds like sort of like a choir patch in the background with some swirliness on it. So chorusing or flanging phasing effect.
It's not over now.
Oh, the singing.
I won't leave you in the dark
Wow, I've never heard him sing like that.
because I need you so.
Wow, oh my goodness. And that's guitar. Are we gonna have drums? Love it. A lot of awesome things going on here. You know, that's actually probably a really difficult part to play on the guitar very cleanly.
Contagion on our lips. Well, I don't
Bigger synth bass now happening. More of like a pulsing one.
and feel forbidden bliss.
But it's the constant flow.
They can't stop us now.
Wow.
I wanna let you feel alone.
Wow.
Because I need you so.
Wow. Love it. Love it. Give the song time to breathe. Then a background vocal. Fully wet reverb. Really nice. Into the back of the sort of mid-rangey soup we got going on. Wow. Wow. Wow, those chords. The way this song has built. And the drums sound fantastic. They're not overly done. Snare seems pretty reverb heavy. It's pretty wet. Oh my goodness. I'll bet this song is fun to perform live. I love that. I love, rather than him doing his belting thing that he always does, just hitching it up there. I don't know if that's his soprano voice or what that is. I'm not a technical, you know, singing technical phrases. I don't know. This is overwhelmingly incredible. The mixing on this album, oh, I'll save some of my thoughts for that, but oh my gosh. Euphoria. Wow, okay. I wonder how they're getting that sort of like 8-bit sounding guitar sound almost. If it's a guitar like run through some sort of a crazy filter patch thing. It's cool though, it works with all the synths. Yep. Love this, very 80s feeling. The drums sound really nice and contained. Okay. This time is running out. I love that guitar tone. I love everything that's happening here. Very interesting and different sounding song. But still with those synths. This song just makes me feel like moving, you know? I bet the 24-bit version of this album sounds incredible. Just the highest possible quality imaginable. I almost like here that it doesn't go into like power chord crazy like heavy here. You know, you're allowed to hear everything going. And there are definitely like guitars going, you know, during the chorus here. But you can still hear everything, and it's not big and woofy or muddy at all. Unlike some of those earlier songs where they did have the big crunchy guitar, and then when they went away, I really missed it. Love this. Whatever this patch is on this guitar, it's like auto-tune or something on the guitar, some weird thing like that. Very interesting. Those sweeps are so Muse. So we may have another layer of guitar off to the side, or at least that's more distorted, I feel. Wow. Wow. My goodness, it just sounds so fun. Everything that's happening just sounds so fun. Like they had so much fun. Like, screw it, we're just gonna make fun songs. Although not all the songs are fun, but I'll bet you they had a lot of fun. It really does just sound like they tried to make an album so far full of... Okay, so this song, I had to mention, I'm going to edit this. Okay, we got an ad, I'll say that. So on my channel, so far I've managed to make it so that there's no terrible swear words on my channel, and I'm going to keep it that way. So I don't know how difficult it's going to be to edit this song. I'm still crossing my fingers and dotting my T's and my I's and everything that I will be able to include the audio from this album in the video. And if I can, I will edit this song, just so that anybody listening to this knows. I will create the edited, sort of censored version. So, let's see if it's going to go right into it. Another 23-second ad. Okay. Boy, a couple songs ago, I was like, dang, this is like every song is fantastic. Like every song is the best song Muse has ever made in that style of song. And I definitely think that. But then I was thinking like, oh, I wonder, it would be awesome if there was like 12 or 13 songs on this album. It'd be one of the greatest albums of all time. Okay, hold on. It's coming back in. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's some... Okay, now this totally sounds like something from the 90s. I wonder if they just recorded this live in the studio. That would be awesome. It could have been recorded live. There's some interesting percussion things going on. Like, the kick definitely sounds like it's in the middle, but I also hear it off to the side, too, which could be bleeding from the kick into other things. Or it could be a choice. Huge, massive sound. Man, that guitar is massive. Like, I hear the bass off to the side a little bit. And the guitar I really don't hear very much. It is off to the other side, but I don't hear what's doing very much. Interesting how this is mixed. This is super catchy and awesome, though. I hear some background vocals. Huh. It's gonna be hard for me to edit this and make it sound natural. I'll try. Gosh, all these crazy notes. Keyboard solo. Guitar solo. Interesting. Okay. All right. Gonna be a challenge for me to edit that, but it is what it is. Okay, let's not let that deter us from just, holy crap, in a biscuit. This is incredible. I don't even know. Best Muse album, without question. All the best, top 10 best, well, top 9 best Muse songs, all on this album, without question. Well, I don't know. Muse has some fantastic songs in the past. This is fantastic. This is clearly the best thing they've ever done. It's strange because every song felt very unique to it, and hearing them say that we tried to make an album full of all of our old singles, just like remade or whatever, like an album full of singles, like that's what this felt like. Every song felt unique and different, but aiming to be incredible, you know? Some songs are more like, let's be artistic, let's express ourselves in our artistic way, and it doesn't matter if it's catchy or if it's poppy or if it's mainstream or anything, but this was all just like, here is a incredibly digestible, amazing, incredibly well-written song, performed perfectly, just technical mastery of all the instruments and the recording engineering and the mixing and editing and everything, and but it still would work on the radio like a pop song, like I was saying. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. From start to finish, incredible. The vocoders, I would say, really stood out to me. The background vocals were great. All the things that they have learned doing their last few albums. And, the Second Law, definitely with the vocoders and things. There was everything a Muse fan would want here, with the exception of a little bit more of the hoity-toity stuff, to have tracks that like bleed into each other, that are like several tracks that are like a longer piece, like a consistent piece or something like that. That really wasn't here. Every track was its own individual track. And I haven't heard the first 2 Muse albums, but if they do have more of like a raw production to them, then that last track may have been sort of an homage or an ode to the way their first 2 albums sound, or their first album maybe, I don't know. I do know that like I was just listening to Absolution the other day, and it is very raw. You can tell that the drums on that album are the real drums that they recorded in the studio. And there are times on that album when they really push the volume of the drums to make it sound big and everything, and you can really hear that it is real drums. And it actually sounds really, really, really good. So that was all done fantastically. But you can also tell that it wasn't like, it wasn't processed, and to the point of becoming something that it wasn't. It is how it was performed and what it is. And there's a charm to that rawness. Like there's a rawness there that is really charming and interesting, and especially how complex certain parts of those songs are. The fact that they were able to capture everything the way that they did, and, with the technology that was available at the time when that album was made, is pretty incredible. And then I feel like all their albums since then have had a bit more of like a very specific electronic feel to certain aspects of it, with the exception of obviously Black Holes and Revelations, which I'm not a fan of that album. It sounds so vastly different, and no part of that album really grabbed me. And I've tried listening to it several times, but every album after Black Holes and Revelations has had this sort of like electronic pop element to it that I really personally enjoyed. Like I said, I think Undisclosed Desires is fantastic. And there were elements of that here, of Undisclosed Desires, certainly on certain songs, but I also feel like there were a lot of other things pushing and pulling the sort of like we are pop, going for pop mainstream sound. There was constant sweeps, whether it was on the guitar or piano or synths, there was constant sweeps. There was these crazy melody lines and even vocal lines that were insane. There was a lot more faster vocals. There's a lot less, let's do something fast with some long drawn out phrases over the top of it. It wasn't really very much of that at all. The Halloween song is maybe one of my favorite songs of the year, if not the best song of the year. It's absolutely fantastic, perfect 100%, 10 out of 10. I loved the structuring of the songs. That's something I talk about a lot on my channel here. I vastly prefer when a song is ABA style. So it's intro or whatever, verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus, out. That's the arrangement of a song, the structuring of a song that I prefer. And I don't mind if you throw all sorts of extra stuff in there, but the most important thing to me is that you come back to the chorus at the end. And I know that like I've been listening a little bit more progressive music the last few years. And so there's all sorts of, really cool ways to make a long song and not go back to the chorus. But I always prefer going back to the chorus to end the song. It makes you feel like you're coming home. And all of these songs felt like there were specific parts to them. Even the songs that were just more like sort of piano and voice, it felt like it was clear, like what's the chorus, what's the verse. And that was through the playing, the dynamics of the playing, whether it was just piano, the parts themselves, the vocal parts, the inclusion of overdubs or additional vocal parts, a second vocal part, a second vocal line. Absolutely incredible. The vocals were amazing. The one song there, I'm not looking at the list of the songs anymore. One song there, his vocals were really sticking out to me. It was the song after, I believe, the Halloween song, where I was like, whoa, where he was really going into his falsetto voice, but it didn't feel like he was pushing the way he normally did. It felt more like he was singing rather than like belting or pushing the way that he normally does. And I just loved that. I thought that was fantastic, and it really set that song apart. The synths on this album are probably my favorite part of it. Whether they were subtle things in the back like synth pads or something, or having just these awesome synth lines all over the place, just like you would have a guitar line. There was lots of synth lines and things. There were several songs where the synth was like sort of a focal point during the choruses, where it would get bigger and he would be singing, and whether it was his voice was distorted or what, but then there would be like a crazy sort of sounding like thing, like a distorted synth of some kind, or some sort of like a funky fuzzy synth that really was sort of like the focal point of what you were listening to, that was really unique sounding. I loved all that stuff. That was in there a little bit to an extent in the Halloween song. Though, I mean, the Halloween song, the organs were like stealing the show there. And then that Halloween like vocoder part. Like I said, the vocal manipulation was fantastic across the album. There were several songs that felt a lot more organic, where they didn't have all those crazy like vocoders or synths on them. And so they felt more organic, more acoustic in nature, more like you could perform them live without synths and things, just whether it was just piano and vocals. But the album never felt like it did kind of feel like a greatest hits, I guess, in that regard, in that it's just going from one banger to the next, to the next, to the next. And every song is just fantastic, out of this world crazy, and doesn't necessarily have any context for the ones that came before and after it. However, I do think that the sequencing of the album was done masterfully as well, so that like you have a few high points and then there's like a more of a ballad point, whether that song's long or shorter. Then you have a little bit more of a highs, ups, more intense, faster lyrics, then some slower lyrics, from song to song. And that really helped with the flow of the album. I think it was incredible. I was trying to say at the end there that I was wondering like if there's like a deluxe edition of this or anything that has like a few additional songs on it, because I just don't know what else you would do. The only thing that wasn't really here at all was like giant orchestration, like having these crazy strings and an orchestra performing. I really feel like Muse could do an album with a whole orchestra, and that would be like incredible. I don't know if they've ever performed with an orchestra. I know they have performed with different instrumentalists coming on stage and doing things, but just absolutely incredible, bonkers incredible, perfect album, I would say, maybe for the most part. Even that last song, I really enjoyed the production on it. I think that the intensity of it was great. I think the production was fantastic, like I said. The fact that they were swearing a lot, but like I said, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly, and that was their point they were trying to get across. And so that was really cool. And I was just thinking to myself, it's going to be hard to edit this, but that's just me. I actually really like that song. So I wouldn't even like say that that's a huge negative or anything at all. Just, whew. And like I said at the end of that Halloween song, I think that I may have heard the new best Halloween song of all time. You know, the Monster Mash is the most classic Halloween song of all time, I would say. I mean, of course, the Munsters theme is up there. You know, if you want to consider like the Addams Family, you know, there's all sorts of like classical music, like Phantom of the Opera, or I don't know what that song is, but they even referenced it in the Halloween song, the da 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 da. I know that song the most from being on one of the Vigilante 8 soundtracks on the disc of the in one of the theme songs for one of the levels, but in on the PS1 game Vigilante 8, I believe the first one, and not the second one, but that's a famous classical piece, and I don't know who did it or who wrote that, and I feel like that's something I should know. But like, there's all these things, but like this, holy cow, fantastic. I think probably the best Halloween song that's ever been written, I would say. Monster Mash is classic. I will give it that. And I'm hesitant to say that it's better than Monster Mash. You know, and there's actually like, I have one of my favorite, I have a Halloween album that's called Zombified by the band Southern Culture on the Skids, which if you're having a Halloween party, just put that album on. It's fantastic from front to back as well. There's a lot of instrumental stuff. There's a lot of good songs with vocals. And there's some really great songs on there, like She's My Witch and the actual title song Zombified. And that album is from what? 2008 maybe 2010, 2011 maybe. I'm not sure exactly, but fantastic stuff that I just love it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I cannot wait to listen to this again. I will definitely purchase the CD. And if I find the vinyl like at Walmart or something, because Muse is such a huge band, I may actually be able to go to a store and find this album on CD. That would be so incredible. I haven't bought a CD at a store in so long. I'm going to definitely purchase the CD, but I may think about purchasing the vinyl because this is such a fantastic album. I really literally can't think of a single person that I know that I wouldn't show like a certain song to on this and be like, wow, listen to how incredible this is. Literally anybody can find something to like on this album. And for someone that really only likes a lot of the singles that Muse has done in the past, this was just a whole album done for me of just singles. Like, it's so weird to say that because you think that a band would only want to sit down and write good songs, right? But that's not necessarily always the intent. You want to create you want to create an album, you want to create a piece of art, and you're not necessarily going into it with the goal of saying, we're going to put our all individually into every individual song to make that song as good as it can possibly be, disregarding the rest of the songs. Like, let's just make this song as good as it can be. We're done. Move on to the next one. And there are certain bands that do that, but definitely Muse doesn't do that. Muse is one of those bands that could, and I'm sure has made an entire concept album where things flow, where there's reasons for the track structuring and all these things. And this just felt like banger, 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 hit, 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 hit. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10s on this album. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The production was fantastic. The drums were different every song. And that's one thing that I love personally. I love it when every song is approached as its own individual thing. And you do that. You take and you add what you need to that song to make that song as good as possible. And there aren't a lot of bands that do that. You know, like One Republic is a good example, I feel, of a band who has done that on albums in the past, where they just approach each song. Imagine Dragons is another band that does that. And I'm probably saying bands that you're listening to this going, why would you say Imagine Dragons? I'm a Muse fan. I like music, damn it. I don't like Imagine Dragons. In my opinion, Imagine Dragons are awesome. And I love the idea. It's so hard. In my opinion, it would be so hard to write a full album of singles. However, Imagine Dragons has done it. AWOL Nation has done it. One Republic has done it. You know, when you think about pop albums, that's what they're trying to do. But a lot of the times when you listen to a pop album, you hear the first 3 songs, which are like the big singles. Like just recently, I was trying to go through some of Rihanna's catalog. And I remember being in high school and Rihanna just was like every other song on the radio was a different Rihanna song. You know, there was all these different things. Girl on Fire, Umbrella, all these different things. And so I sat down to listen to some of her albums the other day, and I listened to the first few songs, and I'm like, this is okay. I like these songs, so I remember them. And then it got further into the album, and it was just like, what is this? This is not good. This is not up to the standard of those crazy songs. And to have an album that makes, or to have a band that can make an album that is that consistently incredible, to write hit song after hit song after hit song after hit song, is just so rare, and it's such a special gift to give to people. And I want to appreciate this for what it is. It is hit song after hit song after hit song after hit song. You could put any of those songs on the radio, I feel. Some of them would go on pop radio, some of them would go on like college rock radio, whatever. The heaviest things Muse has ever done that I've heard is on this album. Probably the poppiest, softest stuff they've ever done is also on this album. Maybe not, but just incredible. Across the board, incredible. This album will have to be in my top 5 for the year, if not my number 1 of the year. It's competing against a lot of really great stuff. But I'm going to have to listen to this a lot. This is a listen to it in the car, listen to it on headphones again, listen to it on really fantastic big speakers really loud, listen to it quietly, listen to it on earbuds. I'll bet it's going to sound fantastic everywhere. Amazing. The bass didn't stand out to me as much. The reasons the bass did stand out sorry, I'm just going through my head like the list of different things to talk about. The bass, I feel like, wasn't like this pushing, droning, giant, like muddy bass. The bass that was there, I feel like most of the low frequencies we were hearing were coming from synths, but you could still clearly hear the bass guitar in there performing bass guitar, but they were just using the sort of mids and higher frequencies of the bass to have the bass sound in there. But then there were also these big crunchy giant sounds, which I think were coming from the guitars and the bass, and then some like synth stuff that was going on as well. You can just have, a synth bass that has really no definition to it, but just sub frequencies to it to add that like sub frequency to the songs. That's very common for almost all genres of music to do that, because otherwise your mix can sound kind of thin, because some bass guitar recordings just don't have all that crazy sub frequency information in there. So you just add basically you program a synth bass to basically do the exact same thing the bass guitar is doing the whole time. Or you can have it be even more simple and just do like the sort of roots of the chords, and then just have the bass doing its noodly thing or whatever it's doing, and it still has that big feel, gives the big feel to the songs. So I thought that was handled really well. I will say that one song, Compliance, maybe I want to say, there was a song that the guitar got really nice and chunky, and then during the chorus it went away, and the song felt like it just shrunk to half the size. And I really did not like that. I think that was a mistake. Whether it was an intentional mistake where they're trying to play around with it, if that's the case, I think they pushed it a little too far. I think the bigness of it went away so much that it became annoying, and then halfway through that chorus, the guitar came back in, and I felt it felt a lot better. It didn't feel as big as it did before and after, and I definitely think for the dynamicism of the song, the dynamics, it's really cool to have a song be really loud and chunky and then go away, but I don't feel like the arrangement of the song was calling for that in the chorus. I feel like the drums and everything were still kind of going, and you could hear guitars going, but the bigness, the chunkiness went away. And maybe there were some sub-frequencies in there I just couldn't hear, like I said, while I was listening to it, because of the 192 kilohertz, 192 kilobit MP3s that I'm listening to through free Spotify, and also just my headphones through my computer and whatnot. But just wow. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. This album surpassed any expectation I would ever have for a Muse album ever. I've always wanted a band to just do this. To just say, hey, we can write a symphony, but instead we're going to write 10 awesome, intentional songs with the intent of having them sound as good and as accessible and as fantastic as possible. And I'm not saying those things negatively. I'm not saying accessible or poppy negatively. Everything I'm saying, in my opinion, is a positive, and that's why this, to me, is by far, without question, the best Muse album. It's short. The only thing, I could listen to another 10, 15 minutes of it. I could have had another 2-3 songs. If there was a nice ballad at the end where it was just like a long thing, whatever, I would have enjoyed that. I would have enjoyed another song. You know, there was enough heavy moments on the album where I didn't feel like they were lacking that. You know, we could have had maybe a more like electronic 4 to the floor type of thing, maybe like a bit of a poppier thing. Like that first track being The Will of the People, the Beautiful People thing. That came out of nowhere, had no clue. And I would love to look in the liner notes of the album to see if it says contains a sample or is based off of the song Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson, because clearly it was. I think there were several times where I would listen to something and be like, wow, this is like they picked a song or something that was popular at a time and then made their own version of that song just different, which again, like I've been saying, is what they were trying to do, is what I read that they were trying to do, and that's just fantastic. The synth stuff, all the 80s sort of retro synth wave moments and things that like called to that, I thought were handled to perfection. That kind of stuff is super in right now. Synthwave, dark wave music is like super in, and having moments of that with the synths on there, really cool. It makes me wonder what these guys listen to in their own time. You know, what are the things that inspire them? I'm sure I could find interviews where they talk about that, but man, just incredible. Just incredible. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there. I can't handle this anymore. I got to go take a break. Probably just go to bed because this is just too much for me, but absolutely incredible. 10 out of 10 album, in my opinion. Just fantastic. As I said at the beginning of the video, the last video I believe I posted, or the Impliers video that I have here on my channel, go check that out. I really think that you'll get a kick out of it. You'll enjoy it. After listening to this, it's definitely a step down from this, but if you have your expectations set right and you kind of listen to me talking about the band a little bit to set those expectations, I think it will far, far surpass and exceed your expectations. And then the only other thing I'll say is that the next video I'm going to do, I'm so excited for. It came out last Friday. I got the CD in the mail a couple days ago. The new Soilwork album Overgleichen, I think, or something it's called. I'm so excited to listen to that. I have not heard a second of that, and Soilwork is one of the most influential and important bands for me when I was growing up, getting me into metal. So I'm very, very, very much looking forward to that. So if you're a fan of metal, symphonic metal, or not symphonic metal, Scandinavian metal, Gothenburg style metal, Soilwork in general, metal in general, heavy metal music in general, you don't know who Soilwork is, certainly check out that video when I post it, or just go listen to their album now. It's their most recent album. It's got like sort of the dead bird on the front with the flower. But I'm really excited to do that. That'll be the next thing on my channel. So, yeah, go share this album with everybody. I hope that these singles are all over the radio. I hope that Halloween song is everywhere. I hope they license it to everything. I want to see it in everything. I want to see it on commercials. I want to see it played during football games. I want Muse to perform at the Super Bowl halftime and just do all this stuff. I think incredible. Go share this album. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.